In this video, I'm going to discuss how to do derivations for two problems from the complex conditionals module. So we're going to start with derivation 1.6 LRS 80. So first thing we'll do is we will set up our derivations. So we will enter our show line and we want to show the conclusion. So we're going to go ahead and say show R, which is our conclusion. Good, that's our first stage. Now we're going to bring in our premises and we'll use our numbered premise justification. So I'll say PR1 to bring in our first premise, PR2 to bring in our second premise, PR3 to bring in our third premise, PR4 to bring in our fourth premise, which does not exist. We have brought in all our premises. Good. So we've set up our show line. We've entered our premises. Now we're going to look for rule applications. Right now, the only rule we have is MP, so we're looking for MP applications. For MP, we need a conditional, and there's only one conditional, and it's on line 4. So we want to see if we can do MP with line 4 in one of our two other lines. Okay, so to do MP with line 4, we need the antecedent, and the antecedent is the P. All right? This is the main sort of connector, and it connects this, the antecedent, with that, the consequent. So this says if it's the case that P, then it's the case that if Q, then R. So, well, P is the antecedent of line 4. P is on line 2, so we have a conditional on line 4, and it's antecedent on line 2, so we can do modus ponens with 2 and 4. We can apply modus ponens to them. We'll get the consequent of line 4, which is if Q, then R. Okay, good. So we're moving forward. Can we box and cancel? Well, to box and cancel, we need R. We don't yet have R, so we can't box and cancel. So we're going to need to continue with our rule applications. So again, the only rule we have right now is MP. So we want to look to see if there are any opportunities to do MP. And to do MP, we need a conditional. Well, we have the conditional on line 4, but we just did MP with it. And doing MP with it again will not give us anything new. So we don't want to do that. We want to look to see if is there MP anywhere else that we can do. Well, we got a new conditional on line 5. So we want to see, can we do MP with it? So if we look at it, we see, well, it's a conditional, its antecedent is Q. So that's what we need, then that's what we want for MP. If we have Q, we can do MP with Q and line 5. And indeed we have Q on line 3. So we have a conditional on line 3. We have its antecedent on, we have a conditional on line 5. We have the antecedent of that conditional on line 3. And so we can apply modus ponens to 3 and 5, giving us R. Well, now that we have R, we have the conclusion, we have what we need to box and cancel with DD. We'll apply direct derivation to line 6, and that will box and cancel line 1, and our derivation is done, which we can confirm by checking, and yes, it is a correct derivation. So good, that's our first derivation. Let's look at one more. We're going to do 1.6 LRS 82. Okay, so again, first step, we're going to show the conclusion, which is show S. Good. Okay, now, again, we bring in our premises. So premise 1, premise 2, premise 3, premise 4. There is no premise 4. Good, we have all 3 of our premises. Okay, those are sort of some big conditionals there, but that's okay. We can handle it. So we've set up our show line. We've entered all our premises. We want to look to use our inference rules in order to get to the point where we can box and cancel. And just looking ahead, we know that the conclusion of our derivation is S. So that's what we want to get in order to apply DD. So we're looking to see, can we get S? And once we get S, we know we're done. Until we get S, we're not done. Okay, so we want to apply our inference rules to get us to S. Our only inference rule is modus ponens, and so we want to try to do MP. Well, for MP, we need a conditional, and we have conditionals on line 2 and line 3. So on line 2, we have a conditional. This is the main connective, so that's the antecedent. The antecedent is P. So if we have P, we can do modus ponens with line 2. We look at line 3. Here's another conditional. This time, this is the main connector, and that's the antecedent. If Q, then R is the antecedent of the whole conditional. So for modus ponens with 3, what do we want? We want if Q, then R. So we're looking for either P for modus ponens with line 2, or if Q, then R for modus ponens with line 3, and hey, there is P on line 4. So on line 4, we have the antecedent of line 2, so we can do modus ponens with 2 and 4. Hooray, that gives us the consequent of line 2, which is if Q, then R. Okay, good. Can we box and cancel? No, we need S to box and cancel, which we don't yet have, so we cannot box and cancel. Okay, so we want to see, can we, then we need to look for more inference rule applications. So, well, look, we've done modus ponens with line 2, so we're not going to do modus ponens with line 2 again. The only thing we can do modus ponens with would be line 3. So we want to see if we can do modus ponens with line 3. Well, we already discovered what we need for modus ponens with line 3. If q, then r. Q arrow r, that's the antecedent of line 3. And look, that's just what we got. We just got if q, then r on line 5. So on line 3, we have a conditional. On line 5, we have the antecedent of the conditional. So we can apply modus ponens to those two. That gives us s. And as we've been saying, that's what we need, and that's sufficient for boxing and canceling the whole derivation. We can apply line 6, we can apply direct derivation to line 6, because 6 is the conclusion, and that will box and cancel line 1. And our derivation is complete. So, there we go. Those are two of the complex conditional derivations. Please let me know if you had any trouble with either of those.